You know what has more self-control than a billion-dollar car company? A trillion-dollar tech company. Sit with that for a second, because I need you to really understand how embarrassing that sentence is for the entire automotive industry before we go any further. Here's the thing about Apple, Google, Samsung. These companies eat, sleep, and breathe technology. Their entire existence is digital. And you know what they have never done? Put a touchscreen where a physical button needs to be. You will never, and I repeat, never see Apple release an iPhone where the volume buttons are on a flat glass panel. You will never see Samsung ship a phone where you have to swipe on a sub-menu just to power the device off. You know why? Because they are not stupid.
What the hell is even that?
They understand that certain hardware functions are sacred. Certain things need to exist in the physical world where your fingers can find them by feel in the dark without having to look for it. That's why touchscreen laptops are still, and I love this word, a novelty flop. They exist, yes, people buy them, and then those same people spend the next 3 years cleaning fingerprints off their screen and asking themselves why they did that in the first place. I know that feeling because I'm speaking from personal experience. Tech companies have restraints. They understand that technology is supposed to disappear into the experience, not dominate it. Meanwhile, car companies are desperately locked in as Silicon Valley startups, and they're subsequently failing the most basic test of ergonomics. If you have never driven an older car, and I'm talking anything from the 40s to the 90s, you are genuinely missing out. We often overlook just how important the interior is to the overall experience. In the beginning, it was pure utility. The original dashboard on a Ford Model T was literally a wooden board to stop mud from being dashed onto the passengers by horse hooves. But as speed increased, we saw the birth of the cockpit. By the 1930s, the 1936 Quad 810 featured an airplane-style dashboard with shimmering metal. In the 1950s and 60s, we had the living room on wheels era, the Cadillacs, the Buick Rivera. These were masterpieces of tactile engineering. Every chrome toggle, every weighted dial, every cigarette lighter was positioned exactly where your hand expected it to be. This was peak of tactile luxury. It wasn't about the screen size, it was about materials engineered to survive heat, vibration, and 10 years of abuse. Think about how you drive for a second. You don't look at the steering wheel when you turn it. You don't look at the brake when you press it. You don't look at the gear shift when you reach for it. Your body builds a spatial map of everything around it through repetition, and then it operates that map without your eyes. Physical buttons work the same way. You know the resistance of the volume knob. You can feel the click of the hazard light button without touching it twice. Your fingers read the interior of your car like Braille. And that's not just a metaphor. That's literally the same neurological process of reading Braille. Blind people read Braille because the human brain is extraordinarily good at mapping tactile surfaces and physical feedback. The hands can understand space without vision. Now replace all of that with a flat sheet of glass, no texture, no resistance, no feedback, no spatial reference points, just a glowing rectangle that could mean anything, that changes layout depending on the menu, that requires you to stare directly at it like you're reading a terms and conditions document just to turn up the heat. That is not the definition of futuristic. It's a massive, expensive step backwards. Automakers looked at Silicon Valley and said, "Yeah, bruh, we can definitely do that. They don't gotta have all the fun." Well, what they actually meant was, we found a way to cut costs so aggressively our shareholders nearly ascended into the heavens. Somebody in the boardroom realized something horrifying, and I can only imagine that meeting went something like this.
Yo guys, you know, a cabin full of buttons, dials, and switches, all engineered to survive a decade of use, is expensive. You know what is cheaper? A single touchscreen and a software team. That's cheap. So suddenly everything has to become a sub-menu at some point. That's the best way of cutting costs. You alright? Shareholders, you happy? You like that? It's gonna make you guys a lot of money.
Oh my god, bro, that fucking rules.
Yeah, sick, bruh.
So suddenly, everything became a sub-menu. The climate control, inner menu. Seat heating, inner menu. Drive modes, inner menu. The glove box is already in the menu in a lot of cars. And then they marketed this cost-cutting exercise as the future.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now let's talk about safety, because this is where it stops being funny and starts being genuinely insane. Studies have found that interacting with a car's built-in touchscreen can demand more attention than the phones lawmakers spend years trying to keep out of your hand. The AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety found that these systems can take drivers' eyes off the road for up to 40 seconds at 70 miles per hour. That's the length of 7 football fields being driven essentially blind. But here's the part that kills me. Pun very much intended. Your smartphone responds instantly. It has the high refresh rate every modern smartphone, including, yes, and I cannot believe this myself, the base iPhones have anywhere from 90 to 120 Hz. Even most gaming smartphones have up to 165 Hz of refresh rate. It's smooth. Your thumb already knows the muscle memory. In, out, done. But that same action on the car screen, you tap the climate icon, it lags. You tap it again, now the fan speed is at maximum. You try to turn it down, the menu transitions, there's an animation, something freezes, and all of a sudden you are 4 menus deep trying to do something that would have required one physical dial, all while hurtling down the highway. And while the driver is struggling to stay alive in today's pixelated interiors, let's talk about the passenger screens. This might be the most unnecessary feature modern cars have ever invented. Apparently, automakers looked at passengers, people who already have smartphones, tablets, laptops, and thought,
You know what this dude really needs? Another screen.
I'm sorry, but nobody is putting down their ultra-responsive 120Hz iPhone to use a laggy embedded display running software designed sometime during the Bronze Age. This thing exists for only one reason, because it looks impressive in a brochure. It's tech washing in a mediocre interior. A mechanical dashboard from the 90s can be repaired. Copper wires and plastic gears last, but a 15-inch touchscreen from 2024, that has a smartphone lifespan. Between heat-induced delamination where the screen bubbles and peels and software obsolescence, these cars are being built to become paperweights. The manufacturer stops supporting the software in 12 years and suddenly you can't even redirect your air vents because the digital controller is out of date. Car makers have lost their brand identity because whether you're in a budget Hyundai or a BMW, it all looks the same. A giant zip-tied iPad stuck to a minimalist slab of plastic. The art of dashboard architecture has been sacrificed on the altar of the user interface. Look, I'm not against technology in cars. I'm against bad technology in cars. I'm against companies replacing a century of ergonomic engineering with giant touchscreens because it's cheaper, and then convincing people that this is somehow progress. A screen should only display valuable information, not control the whole car. A dial is not outdated. A button is not primitive. Controls you can operate without taking your eyes off the road are not a failure of imagination. They are the entire point of driving. I think analog car interiors will become the next hallmark of premium vehicles. To the next generation, it will feel like true luxury to touch a cold aluminum volume knob or feel the mechanical sneak of a physical toggle. Car companies had one job: build something that gets you where you're going safely. And somewhere along the way, they decided the real problem with cars was too many knobs. They were wrong. The knobs weren't the problem. They were the connection.